From a mother demanding custody despite years of instability and violence toward her ex.
I want joint custody. I want to be able to actually be the mom.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want no child support. Jaylen know me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. No, I'm not the mother that don't want to be a mom.
To another letting her kids call their father by his first name while acting like she's not blocking visitation.
My client is still having issues. Miss Elston is allowing teenagers to not call their father dad. They call him Clark. They're not allowing or enforcing visitation.
These cases show just how messy family court battles can get started with Ms. Scott, who now wants joint custody after spending years unstable balancing between homes struggling to keep a job and even getting violent with her ex. It's crazy how she's demanding equal rights now, while the father has been the one providing a stable home for their child all along. Let's see how the judge handles this.
Thank you, Judge. My proposed terms are as follows. A temporary order in the case to be referred to district court, a mutual finding of family violence and non-disclosure for both parties, Mr. Okito, the custodial parent, to be appointed temporary sole managing conservatorship with the exclusive right to designate primary residence with no geographic restriction, standard possession order with exchanges to take place at the custodial parent's grandmother's house to be in the address will be on the order. Child support will be zero. Mr. Okito will carry the health and dental insurance, no medical support, retro and court costs reserved for final hearing. And that's the extent of my proposed order. I will call the non-custodial parent, Ms. Scott, first on the issue of paternity questions. Ma'am, are you the mother of the child?
Yes, sir.
And who is the father of this child?
Jaylen Okito.
And have you ever been married either to Mr. Okito or to anybody else?
No.
Could anybody else be the father of this child?
No.
And how old is the child?
1 year old.
I'll pass the witness and I'll call Mr. Okito. Sir, do you admit or acknowledge that you're the father of this child?
Yes, sir.
And how do you know?
I got my own DNA test.
And it showed positive, correct?
Yes, sir. It was nice. It was positive. And I was the only one with her.
Now, when does the child turn 2, sir?
May 21st.
And the child currently lives with you, correct?
Yes, sir.
How old were they when they started living with you?
She was 2 months.
Has there ever been any incidents of family violence between you and Miss Scott?
Before Brooklyn was conceived, yes, sir. And
okay. So hold on, wait for a question. So you said before Brooklyn was conceived. So is there a particular incident in mind that you have?
Yeah, with my
when did it happen? Approximately what month and year, if you know?
August 2020, 2021 and or 2022, I think.
What happened specifically?
Lexi came to my house, and she was keeping up noise. She was distraught, and she fought my little sister at the time.
Okay. Has Miss Scott ever hit you?
A few times, yes, sir.
When was the most recent incident?
When I had to remove her from my house when she was living with us at the time, which was in October.
October of what year?
2024.
So she was living with y'all as recently as October of 2024?
Yes, sir.
How long had she been living with y'all?
Since Brooklyn was 2 months, so July.
It was 3 months.
Okay, hold on, Miss Scott. So, Mr. Okito, there's an incident in October of 2024. I think you said you had to remove her from the house. Was Miss Scott hitting you?
Yes, sir.
Did she initiate? Was she the aggressor?
Yes, sir.
You grabbed her and removed her from the house?
Yes, sir.
Did you hit her?
No, sir.
Did she damage any of your property?
No, sir.
Were the cops called?
That day, no, sir.
Have you ever had to get a protective or restraining order against her?
No, sir.
Okay, so you said the cops weren't called that day. Have there been other incidents when they were called?
In August, that would be 2023 when it had happened. So in August of 2023, yes, sir.
And what happened at that incident? Was she hitting you or were you hitting her?
2020. No, that was the day she had came to my house. I think it was 2022 because Brooklyn was born in 2023.
Okay, so she came to your house, what, uninvited or?
Yeah, it was uninvited. It was around like 1 or 2 in the morning.
Was there an altercation?
Yeah, that's when she had fought my sister.
Okay.
Well,
and
my
the
sister
cops were called?
Yes, sir.
What did the cops do when they got there?
Obviously asked about what happened and stuff, and they had asked if we want to press charges and things of that nature. I wasn't pressing charges, no sir.
Was anybody arrested?
No sir.
Have you ever pushed or hit Miss Scott
Yes sir.
where you were the aggressor?
No sir.
So you're saying always in self-defense.
Yes sir.
Now that's bad. This isn't just a one-time mistake. She has a pattern of aggression. She didn't just hit him. She attacked his sister, showed up uninvited in the middle of the night, and had to be thrown out of the house. But sure, let's pretend she's just a struggling mom who deserves another chance.
You in agreement to be appointed the sole managing conservator of the child?
Yes sir, for sure.
I'm not right.
Are you okay with the standard possession order where exchanges would take place at your grandmother's home?
Yes sir.
1 second, Miss Scott, keep your face in the screen. And I have a question of you, sir. So, since the child has been born, you and the mom and the baby live together as a family unit?
No ma'am.
You have never lived in the same house together?
No, so to before the baby was conceived, we did live in an apartment together. I ended up leaving back to my granny house, and that's why situations happened with we was never together, like as in we was messing around with each other.
Listen to my question. Didn't you just
No, she lived
in October and you had to put her out?
Yeah, she lived with my mother because we had took her from not took her, but she was in a bad situation, and I didn't want to be with her. So my daughter lived with me, and I live with my grandmother right now. So I had her live with my mother, and she was at the house, my granny house. This was during.
So
this
you
was
mean
probably-
Miss Scott lived with your mom?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let me make sure, and correct me if I have this incorrect.
I got you.
You have had the baby living with you without the mother since what age of the child?
October
No.
2023. So
What
no,
age was the baby?
I'm trying to calculate it because October 2023, May, June, July, August. So May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. She was like 7 months.
Okay, so the baby has lived with you since 7-month-old in a residence, just you and the baby and mom not there.
Yes, ma'am.
To present.
Yes, ma'am. To present. Yes, ma'am.
And the baby right now is, again, how old?
1.
Okay. And so Miss Scott, you're saying, was living with your mom, and disturbance occurred over there, and you're saying that you put Miss Scott out of your mom's house.
So the disturbance had occurred at my grandmother's house. Mm-hmm. It was a buildup of the reason why we had her over there is because we wanted her to get on her feet. Me personally, because obviously we're not together, but she is my baby mother's child. So we was trying to help her get on her feet, and it was for a minute that happened. I told you since Brooklyn was 2 months, so that was like in July, and then October come.
I want to ask my questions. I don't want you to tell me everything that has happened. So how did it come about that you would get to keep the baby and the baby's not with Miss Scott?
The fact that when I had put her out because she wasn't trying to get on her feet, and we had a situation where she was the aggressor, I had kept Brooklyn, and she went on her way. She wasn't like in a stable place, so she obviously couldn't keep the baby if she's not in a stable home. She's bouncing from place to place, and that's why I just had her ever since. And we had mutual agreements on when she could get her, when she was stable, when she could see her, whenever point she was stable, things of that nature.
So has she not been working? What was the instability of Miss Scott?
She can't keep a job and can't keep a place to stay. Right now she's okay, but just as for a whole in general, she can't,
So how long, in your opinion, has she been okay?
Probably for about a month and a half right now, to my knowledge. I don't know everything, but to my knowledge, for about a month and a half.
All right, go ahead, counsel. So you're saying that you've never put your hands on her first. That's your testimony. She's always been the aggressor.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you're requesting a family violence finding. You're requesting that you keep the baby, and you're requesting a non-disclosure finding, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Honestly, this man is a hero about it. How did he manage to keep the baby for a solid 7 months? Without the mother, that's no small feat. Raising a child, especially one so young, is already a full-time job. So yeah, props to him for holding it down. This is a problem with family court of fatherhood provided stability. Since day one still has to prove why he should remain the primary parent, while a mother with zero stability thinks she can. Just claim equal rights without putting in the work.
All right, move on, counsel.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Akita, are you requesting any child support today?
No, sir.
Now, how's the child currently covered for insurance?
Medicare or Medicaid.
Through you?
Through my great grandmother.
Okay. Do you have access to insurance through your employer?
Through my grandmother. Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. And are you in agreement to carry the child on your employer's health and dental insurance?
Yes, sir.
Are you requesting any sort of medical support from Ms. Scott?
No, sir.
If the judge were inclined to grant a final ruling today, are you going to be requesting any sort of retroactive support at all?
No, sir.
Okay, I'll pass the witness and call Miss Scott. Ma'am, is it correct that there was an incident in October?
Yes, of October
Okay.
2024.
Yes. He says that he put you out. Is that correct?
Yes, he threw me out.
Okay. Were you the aggressor or was he the aggressor?
No, I had texted him. It was October 31st. It started.
Okay. Who swung at who first?
Let's just stop. Was that at his grandmother's house, his mother's house? Okay, so you were living over there with them, away from him and the baby. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And some disturbance went on over there, and you're saying he was the aggressor and put you out of his relative's house.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, was the police called?
No.
Has the police ever been called for any family violence between you and him?
No, ma'am.
Have you ever been granted restraining orders or protective orders against him or vice versa?
No, ma'am.
All right. Have you ever put your hands on him first?
Yes, it was a time just as well as he have, and I literally got beat.
Okay.
I had
okay. Thank you. You've admitted that. Thank you. Next question is, how did it come about that he got to keep the baby and the baby didn't come with you? That's
when he beat me out the house, I asked for my baby back, but they did say once I have somewhere to go, they would give Brooklyn back.
Okay, you froze on my end.
I've never got her back because honestly, yes, Jalen is right. Then I could not keep a job. I did not have my own roof. I was there. I did at first, but I was in an abusive relationship, so I called the grandmother to take my child out of the environment, but they took me and her. So I end up staying with Jalen's mother, and Jalen stays.
So part of it is, Miss Scott, you keep calling his family, his mom, and his grandma to help you. That's right. Isn't
it was once, ma'am.
Isn't that how they're getting involved? You're calling his mom and his grandmother to assist with the child, and you've lived with them, right?
Yes, ma'am. Okay. But that's not how you're like. I ended up just started like living with them. I originally did not call to stay with them. It was to bring my baby out of the. At
the end of the day, you stayed with them. They were helping you, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So bottom line, you used his people to help you and the baby, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
This woman isn't just unstable, she's a danger to his family and their child. She couldn't act like an adult or a mother constantly relying on his family for help, the same family. She had no problem attacking Young. Lady, you need to figure your life out first, get a stable job, and get some counseling. Well, let's just hope she's not on drugs, too.
So you've been out on your own how long?
Are you talking about from when I was staying with them?
Right now. How long have you been in your own spot?
I've been here for 3 months.
Okay. Do you live by yourself or does someone else live there?
I live with my spouse. My spouse apartment.
You're legally married?
No, ma'am. Just my boyfriend.
Okay. So make sure you're telling me the truth. So it's your boyfriend. Is this the boyfriend that you were having issues with before with the abuse?
No, ma'am.
This is a new boyfriend. Okay. So just you and him live there?
Yes.
Do you work?
Yes.
Where do you work?
Whataburger.
How long have you worked there?
For 3 months.
Okay. And what did you do before Whataburger?
I didn't have a job.
How long you did not have a job?
I didn't have a job for about going on like 4 months.
Why?
Transportation, no car, my living arrangements, things like that. I basically,
You have a car now?
yes,
Your car or boyfriend's car?
my car.
Okay. And prior to the 4 months that you were not working, where did you work prior to that?
Only thing I can really get is like
Here come the pity me tears.
a Whataburger, I worked at Whataburger. That's like the main thing. And I worked at a dietary, Lancaster Rehab Center. I worked there also. And I worked there for about 3 months.
Okay. Are you a Dallas County resident?
Ma'am?
Do you live in Dallas County?
Yes, ma'am.
I got a free jobs program to assist you. So if you don't have a GED, they'll help you get one. If you don't have your high school, they'll help you to get a better job. I'm going to put you in that program because I want you to be able to take care of you, your obligations, and the baby. You got it?
Yes,
your initial meeting will be with them today. They're going to put you in the breakout room with Miss Teresa Johnson. Okay? All right.
Ma'am.
So what are you requesting today?
I wanted a joint custody. I want to be able to actually be the mom.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want no child support. Jay didn't know me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. No, I am. I'm not the mother that don't want to be a mom. Mm-hmm. I have things I have to personally work on to be a mom.
Okay.
I'm literally planning on going to counseling. I have to go to counsel. Okay. Mental health is what I have to get better on to be a mother.
Okay. Well, it's good that you're acknowledging that. So I have a question for you. Since you said you got some other things to work on, you don't think it's in the child's best interest to stay in the most stable home at this point and just visit the child instead of just uprooting the stability of the child? Because that's part of being a mom and dad too, is to make the best decision for the child, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So would it not be in the best decision of the baby to stay in the stable environment and you continue to work on you and then just have visits?
I'm scared that she get older. She just like, I don't love her, or why she wasn't here. I don't want her taking my whole. I don't want that. Right now, I understand that I do need that. But like, say 5 or 4 years from now, and I got a career, I have everything. I want to be able to come to my baby father and work it out and say, "Can I have my baby too? Can I? I don't want this like toxic."
I understand. I hear you.
Can you
want to be a part? Wait, sir. She wants to be a part of the baby's life. She's admitted she got some things to work on. She understands that. That's part of being a parent. She's admitting that she's not perfect. None of us are perfect. She got some things to work on.
Yeah.
All right.
This happens when you create your problems and then act shocked at the consequences. She couldn't keep a job, a stable home, or temper, yet she thinks she deserves equal custody. Raising a child isn't something you try out when it's convenient. The father has been providing stability since day one, while she's only been stable for a month and a half. Her argument is all emotion, no logic, though I'd admit she at least deserves supervised visits for the...
Okay. So, counsel for the state, you're asking that the case be referred up. Why?
Well, because Miss Scott was requesting primary custody, and on a contested custody issue, I figured district court might be the best venue for that. But I suspect that you might have already made your decision.
Okay. So let me tell you what I'm going to do. 1, I am going to find mutual family violence and a mutual non-disclosure finding. That means I cannot have joint managing conservatorship because the law will not when I find family violence. Sole managing conservatorship is going to go to dad at this time. He will decide where the baby lives. Possessory is the mom. However, mom, you're going to have visitation. You're going to have standard visitation.
So let me get this straight. The same woman who admitted to being unstable, violent with multiple boyfriends and unable to provide for a child just got unsupervised weekend visits. What was the judge thinking? If this were a father with the same history, he wouldn't even be allowed near the child without CPS involvement. But because she's a mother, she tears a little and boom, get a free pass. Unlike in M. Scott's case, here's a father fighting to see his children, yet he keeps getting shut out. It's shocking how his ex-Miss Elston blocks visitation and lets the kids call him by his first name instead of dad. Let's see how the judge handles this.
What's on file is a motion filed by Mr. Kidwell on behalf of his client. It's a motion to modify custody, parenting time, and child support. And then there is a subsequent motion, an affidavit for contempt. And essentially, what we're doing today is trying to figure out what we need to do to resolve these matters. And Mr. Kidwell, I know we've had some off-record discussions, but if you could go ahead as the filer of these motions, provide how you think the case should move forward at this point.
Would you prefer I know that the court has read this, and of course, Miss Elston advised that she had read it and she's seeking counsel. So I didn't know if you wanted me to physically today move forward or talk about a possible way we can have a third party observe this, Your Honor.
Okay. Let me, Miss Elston, you're wanting to seek or try to hire an attorney? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, if he is he talking about doing like a mediation type deal?
That's been discussed, the possibility of doing that. Now, if that's something that you're agreeable to and want to make that decision without the benefit of counsel, we can certainly do that. If you want to visit with an attorney before making that decision, then I would more than likely give you that opportunity as well.
Yes, please.
So which option?
To be able to seek counsel and get advisement on whether or not this would be better handled in a court setting or if mediation would be better.
And Your Honor, as we previously stated off the record, retired Judge Powers does domestic conciliation, which of course by statute includes the attempt to have and work out whatever mediated issues can be worked out. And then of course in the domestic conciliation process, the court would make the DC would make a recommendation as to those issues. But for the benefit of Ms. Elston, I would advise that that's why the statute had been rewritten so that it explained specifically what the purpose of a DC is. And based on that, that's why I had suggested retired Judge Powers. Okay. He's very effective at what he does. Otherwise, since she would like counsel, do you want to do this by status again on the new Zoom code, or how would you like to do that?
What I'd like to do is probably set this out about 30 days. That way, Miss Elston would have time to consult with an attorney. And if after doing so, you all decide to go into domestic conciliation, then we can certainly speed that process along. We do have our own local rule 16, which is our domestic conciliation process. Do you have a copy of that, Mr. Kidwell?
I do, but it's not in front of me.
Okay. And Miss Elston, I'll have my AA send you a copy of our local rule 16 just so you will have that and you can read through it, and that's the domestic conciliation process. I'm not ordering that right now, but that's something that is often done on these types of cases to resolve custody type issues.
Your Honor, the only pending urgent issue obviously is the visitation, and as you have read the very detailed notes, my client is still having issues. Miss Elston is allowing teenagers to not call their father dad. They call him Clark. They're not allowing or enforcing visitation. She's made it clear that.
Now, this is outrageous. I mean, did you see that wicked smile on her face? This woman is a problem here. I mean, her audacity level is unmatched. Full parental alienation is on display here. And she feels like it's something she can do and walk away with arrogantly. And let's not forget, this isn't just about visitation. It's about control for the mother here.
They can make their own decisions. We all know that every single order from Sumner County and anywhere else states that that has to be followed. She discusses the court papers with the children. She discusses adult matters with the children. And he hasn't seen them in over a year. So that's why we were hoping that the court would enforce some kind of visitation until she either gets an attorney or she agrees to go to domestic conciliation.
Well, without litigating the whole issue, and this being a case that was transferred from Sumner County, I don't have the benefit of having the history and knowing how things have gone along. I'll just advise both parties that if the orders that are in place are the current orders, and those need to be followed. And
that's why we filed the contempt after the motion to change custody, because we just assumed that this would be something to restart or make people think that blatant disregard of court orders in Sumner County and now obviously here continues. So thank you.
And I'm not making any ruling on the contempt. All I'm advising both parties is there's court orders in place. Those need to be followed unless this court modifies them. And right now there's been no modification of any court order. So any court order on file that contains a parenting plan, child support, all of that needs to continue unless modified at some point in the future.
If a father refused to return the kids to the mother, the court would step in immediately. But when it's the mother keeping the kids away, suddenly it's treated like a simple misunderstanding. The double standards are pathetic.
So I don't know if that satisfies your inquiry, Mr. Kidwell, but that's...
It does, because this court is now making the same findings that the Sumner County Court had made. And we'll see what happens after today's hearing. What day would you like us to come back?
Angela, if we could get a date, about 30 days, probably just like a 30-minute window.
And Your Honor, while Angela's looking at that, there was something I wanted to request on the record in my capacity as the court trustee.
Okay. And I apologize, Mr. Andrews. I kind of ignored you there.
That's okay, Your Honor. Your Honor, the last order filed when the case was still in Sumner County regarding the issue of child support was August 14, 2024. And that order essentially, this was on a prior contempt citation for non-payment of child support. My understanding is that essentially the court was just setting these on review hearings to ensure that child support that was ordered was being paid. The last journal entry was a journal entry notice to appear that set the matter for further hearing on November 25, 2024 at 9:00 a.m. for child support review, and further directed that Mr. Rothgeb make payments in the amount of $1,127 per month through the Kansas Payment Center. What I would request is that the court order that essentially confirm that Mr. Rothgeb is to continue paying at $1,127 per month until further order of the court. I'm not requesting because it does appear from the Kansas Payment Center records that he has been making those payments.
Yes.
That the matter be set for another review hearing on the child support, but instead just essentially that there be an order stating that he will continue to pay that amount until further order of the court. And if I would just ask if I would be allowed to journalize that confirmation of that prior ruling from today's hearing date, And then I would still plan on appearing at the future hearing since there is a pending child support modification request. But that would resolve the issue that had originally led to me filing the request for a status conference.
All right. Mr. Kidwell, do you wish to be heard on that issue?
We have no objection. He's continuing to pay.
All right. Ms. Elston, do you have any comment?
No, I don't.
Okay. That will be the order of the court, Mr. Andrews, if you want to journalize that. Essentially, every order that's been made out of the Sumner County court will continue unless modified in the future by this court.
Immediate contempt finding should have taken place, but no, the manipulation and control here are classic. So once again, we have a father who got treated less while the woman walks away talking about manipulation tactics some women use in family. Court, you wouldn't want to miss this case where Miss Patrick claims she can't afford child support despite her pay stubs proving otherwise.